and this is headbutts. Okay, I'm a big fan of headbutts. They are not for everybody, and there are going to be people in the room that are like, yeah, I'm never doing that, and that's fine. But I've seen videos a couple times lately of people teaching headbutts that for sure have never really headbutted somebody, because if they had, they wouldn't be teaching it the way they're teaching it. Can I borrow you, Dan? If I'm going to headbutt Dan and I grab his head to headbutt him, what just happened there? What happened to his head when I grabbed it? If I headbutt him now, what happens? I'm going to fuck myself up. I just pulled him in to the strongest part of his head. If he's more upright, or we're in here clenching or whatever, and I want to headbutt him, there it is, bang, there it is. But as soon as I do that, just a little bit, I don't have to, like, it's not much of a grab, I don't have to do much, but as soon as I grab his head at all, that happens. And that's how I know you've never actually headbutted somebody before, because you would not do that to headbutt them. I just gave him a great opportunity to headbutt the shit out of me. He could wreck me from here. Bam! That's bad. And if I tried to headbutt him now, I'm probably going to knock myself out. Besides the fact that when I grab and hold the head here, even if the angle made sense, the level made sense, by stabilizing his head, what does not happen when I headbutt him?
His head looks back.
Yeah, his head stays stationary. So now I'm going to rely more on just blunt force trauma, which is not a bad thing necessarily. But if I'm wanting like actual concussive effect, what would I prefer for his head to do? That right there. I make his skull move really fast and stop. And his brain moves at the same pace and then stops on the inside of his skull. But if I stabilize his head, that doesn't happen, or at least not to the same degree. Okay? And if I'm going to have to run multiple headbutts against a stabilized target, I run a much higher risk of injuring myself. Okay? So when you see people doing headbutts, and let's say Dan's got a mitt, and you see this to headbutt them, I know they've never headbutted somebody before. Because for sure, if I do this to headbutt him, I'm going to wreck myself. Okay? So usually headbutts, you know, we're probably connected in some way. I'm not just headbutting out in space normally. We're probably connected. I'm maybe connected here. Right? This is a great place to headbutt because it's very difficult for him to defend it. It's very difficult for him to see it. All of this as a target is very good. Everything from your eyebrows down is pretty fragile. Everything from your eyebrows up is pretty sturdy. So just kind of like the down and dirty Clifford version is, I want to headbutt him with anything from my eyebrows up to anything from his eyebrows down. As soon as I grab his head, I change that. And I stabilize the target. Okay, it's like holding and hitting, right? If I collar tie here and I start punching, this isn't wrong, but again, I'm going to rely on blunt force trauma now. I'm not going to get a lot of snapping of the head when I hit him. Okay? So, all of that to say, when we work the headbutts, I would prefer that you not grab the mitt. Okay, we're going to drill it kind of in space just because it keeps people from getting headbutted for real. So we're going to drill it kind of out in space, but understand when we go to do this later, and we'll run a drill where I'm probably headbutting from here, or maybe I'm headbutting from here, but I'm connected to Dan, but I'm not connected to his head. Okay? If I wanted, maybe if we were in here and I snapped his head down and he goes to regain his posture, now that's a great time to headbutt. Right? And unless I snap his head down and he tries to double leg me, most people, you snap their head and what is the first thing they want to do? That. So, I mean, in that case, that's a good time to headbutt. Right? We're in here flopping around, I snap his head, he goes to stand, bang. That's a good headbutt in place. But I'm not snapping his head to headbutt him. This is fucking terrible. If he just launched from there, he'd kill me. He'd be dead. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So when you see people holding mitts or holding tombstone pads or top pads or whatever, and they're doing this kind of stuff, they're probably knocking themselves out over and over and over again. All right? Don't do that. And it's rare you'll hear me say don't do something. This is one of those where it's hard for me to find a context where I'm going to grab the guy's head to headbutt him. Now, if you grab his neck and he stands up, okay, maybe. But things in this range happen so quickly. Like whoever goes first probably wins. Okay?
Is that the same concept with an elbow? You wouldn't want to grab it and do
Yeah,
that?
I mean, you'll see like in top fights and more in MMA, people will hold the head and hit. But it's kind of a battle of attrition at that point. Like I know I've got time and I'm gonna just fucking brutalize this dude, or maybe I'm looking to cut him and the ref's gonna stop it. You know, there's that. But yeah, I mean, it's the same idea. If I hold his head, I mean, I'm relying now on just, and I don't say just like to discount it. Like blunt force trauma is a thing, but if I stabilize his head, I have to recognize that, yeah, I'm not going to get the same concussive effect that I would if his head is able to move around.
If I'm doing that in MMA, it's basically just to try not to lose position. Something on against the fence, hey, I don't want to swing like that. Like, oh no, I missed. I gave it my back. He gets a takedown. I had him against the fence and I lost that spot. I'm gonna hit him and be able to frame again, turn, hit him again, just kind of chip away there. Because again, it's a point system. And I'm scoring, and if I cut him enough, they'll just stop it. I don't have to knock him dead. Hey, he can't see the fight's over. I don't have to try to hit him one pump.
Context, man. Like it's like we're on the ground, right? If I've got a mounted position, I'm dropping elbows and his head's against the ground, it's stabilized. But what happens more often than not is the dude picks his head up, you hit him, and then he gets hit twice, right? His head, you hit him, and then his head hits the ground. So you're getting a double kind of concussive effect. Other questions? All right, so the way that we're gonna hold for headbutts, and look, at some point, do these things start to look very similar? Yes. Is that by design? Yes. I have to be able to read and problem solve in real time, okay? So the way that we're gonna hold for headbutts is I'm gonna stack my mitts like this, okay? As a pad holder, I gotta make sure that I understand the range. I'm not over here and I'm asking him to throw a flying headbutt, right? Tony Jaa style, like, I'm not doing that. I wanna make sure that I'm close enough to give him a realistic target, and also based on his height, right? I'm going to throw probably a lot more headbutts in real time than Dan is, just because he tends to be taller. I'm 5'7", okay? Headbutts are a little bit, it's like duck unders, right? If Dan and I are working, I'm probably going to be chasing duck unders more than he is, because that's what makes sense based on our physical attributes, okay? So when I ask for the headbutt, I'm going to stack my mitts like this. I'm going to put them out in front, but it's very close. Okay, so it should be relatively obvious what I'm asking for. Like, I can see how you would mistake this and this maybe if we're in this range. But I should not be asking for headbutts here. Right? So we're moving around and I'm here. And that's how he knows the headbutt. The other thing to keep in mind here from a mid-holder side, and this is difficult, especially when you start mixing in all the other stuff, is I'm not giving him feedback on my mitts, right? He's going to headbutt, I'm not going, oh, bang. Okay? And that's hard once you start mixing everything in, because he's banging hard crosses and hard jabs and hooks and everything. And so I'm having to give feedback for myself and give him realistic targeting. But then I need to be able to switch from that to, okay, I'm not giving him a lot of feedback there. It's just I'm giving him a target. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can we try this?
Yes, sir.
Tuck your chin, raise your shoulders just a little bit. Now, you headbutt with your whole body, okay? You don't punch like this. You don't kick like this. You don't knee like this. So you shouldn't headbutt like this, all right? You punch with your whole body. You knee with your whole body. You headbutt with your whole body. Make all this one piece. Tuck your chin, bring your shoulders up, and hit with the crown of your head. Again, ideally where the hairline is. But realistically, anything from my eyebrows up to anything to his eyebrows down. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's try it. Listen, we're gonna isolate two things just so you're not just like fucking throwing headbutts for a full round. So you're gonna go double jabs and headbutts. That's it, those two things, double jabs and headbutts. Mitt holders, the real work here is on you. Making sure that you're understanding the difference in these ranges and that you're not knocking your partner out by giving a bunch of feedback, okay? On 3.